Good morning. My name is John Watts, and I'm a student at Colorado Christian University. And I was asked to prepare a PowerPoint presentation on leadership and management with Professor Kathleen Benton. And also, I was asked to interview someone in a leadership role, a pastor, a CEO of an organization, and get their insights on how they manage and motivate a team and their leadership style. But first of all, I want to start off by reading my favorite scripture from Galatians 6 and 9. And it states, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap and harvest if we do not give up." So determination is key. A commitment is key. Do not give up. You will reap and harvest if you do not give up. Now, my person that I interviewed for this PowerPoint presentation was Mr. Dion Hooks. Mr. Hooks has been working for the Macon Housing Authority since 2014. He currently serves as a senior property manager, managing an affordable housing community with about 274 units, and also he has 6 staff members. Mr. Hooks has led several United Way fundraising campaigns for the Housing Authority. He also has volunteered and served on fundraising committees with DePaul U.S. Daybreak Center of Macon. Mr. Hooks is currently pursuing an organization leadership degree at the University of West Georgia. Moving on to slide number 5, during my conversation with Mr. Hooks, it was more like a conversation, not an interview, really, because we were talking. Since he is a leader, he's also taking a leadership classes at the University of West Georgia. So we were having a conversation about motivation, empathy, uh, how you incorporate your faith and your morals and values into your leadership style. Now, Mr. Hooks is a very smart person, very bright person who I look up to as well. But first of all, let me define what is leadership. Leadership is the ability to inspire confidence and support among people who are needed to achieve organization goals. Now, that definition is from our text reading for the week. Um, Mr. Hooks also stated that it takes support and nourishing a team and showing empathy are keys to anything that you want to grow and be successful in. Moving on to slide number 6. When talking to Mr. Hooks, I inquired about his motivational skills, how his tactics, how he keeps his employees motivated. And he stated that some of his motivators are um, recognizing or achieving, recognizing good work and interesting work, giving interesting work, delegating, and also creating that room for advancement and growth as well. And also keeping an open door policy to his staff and to the people that he managed on the property. Keeping that open door policy is very important. Now, moving on to slide number 7, when talking to Mr. Hooks about empathy and faith, and he generally just said to show empathy, just treat people the way that you would want to be treated. Let them know that you understand where they go, what they're going through, where they've been, and that falls in line with our definition in our text reading, which is consideration, which is the degree to which leaders create an environment of emotional support, warmth, friendliness, and trust. The leader creates this environment by being friendly, approachable, looking out for the person who cares for the group, and keeping the group abreast of new developments and doing small favors from the group for the group. I'm sorry. And that pretty much is the golden rule. Just doing to others as you have others doing to you. Moving on to slide number 8. Also, during this conversation, I inquired about how he deals with conflicts and with his staff members and also people on the property. And Mr. Hook's views on dealing with conflicts are pretty much in line with our text reading for this course. A few main points I would like to highlight that he mentioned: being a good listener without bias, by listening to both sides and showing respect for both parties involved in the situation, and bringing both parties into a meeting to discuss and produce a win-win outcome. Now, Mr. Hooks also stated that being a good leader, you have to be a good listener to be a good leader. It was found that good listening included interaction that builds a person's self-esteem. Good listeners made the other person feel emotionally supported and conveyed confidence in that individual. And that's from my text reading um, on being a good listener on chapter 12. Mr. Hook stated that being a good listener means showing respect by listening. Um, Also, he stated that he will make rounds in his office just to listen to people accomplishments, his team accomplishments, their concerns and problems that they might have as well. So that all entails being a good leader, a good listener. Now, some of my takeaways from this interview, Mr. Hooks, I'm just kind of summarize uh, uh, some qualities of a good leader, which is communication, which is all good leaders must be a good communicators. It is the root of every interaction they have with other people. Whether you're motivated a group to do something, teaching a skill, putting forth a new message, or even discipline others. Communication is the key to making sure the person on the other end of your action understands you and why you're doing what you do. Enthusiasm. One thing you'll notice about a good boss or a teacher or preachers, politicians, other leaders that you might have in your life is that they are passionate about what they do. And that passion is sincere. Like we stated, showing empathy, which I think is key to being a good leader, because you can show empathy, letting that person, that employee, know that you know what they're going through. You've been there and you're there to listen and to also provide some type of feedback to that person. And lastly, a good leader must be confident in everything he or she does. Otherwise, those who follow you may begin to question your judgment or your sincerity. And to sum it all up, for me, a leadership position, they're often satisfying because they offer such things as power, prestige, the opportunity to help others, a high income, and the opportunity to control resources. At other times, being a leader can carry a number of frustrations, such as facing a performance or parish mentality, insufficient authority, having to deal with human problems, and too much organizational politics. The leader also has the difficult task of balancing workers needed to be independent with their own need to commit common purpose. Now, qualities of being a good leader, like I stated, communication, enthusiasm, empathy, confidence, those are all great qualities that I took away from my interview with Mr. Hooks. I'm going to get back to my scripture again, my favorite scripture, and I'm going to read it just to end this present PowerPoint presentation. It said, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap and harvest if we do not give up. And that is my main takeaway today. Do not give up. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're going through in life, do not give up. I thank you so much for listening to this PowerPoint presentation on leadership and me, presented by John Watts. Thank you so much and have a great day.